Welcome to this video on Murray v. Pearson, a landmark legal case from 1936. In 1936, the legal landscape was defined by Plessy v. Ferguson, making segregation state law. The NAACP sought a strong test case against the inequality of segregation, particularly since there was no black law school in Maryland. The NAACP's early strategy focused on attacking segregation where states offered no equal alternative. This involved using state constitutions and building a record of inequality to prepare for eventual national litigation. The key players in this case included Donald Gaines Murray, the plaintiff, Raymond Pearson, the defendant, Charles Hamilton Houston, and a young Thurgood Marshall as co-counsel. Donald Gaines Murray was a brilliant student who was denied admission to the University of Maryland Law School solely due to his race. He was determined to study law in his home state of Maryland. The university's position was that segregation was required. They offered to pay for Murray's out-of-state tuition, claiming this satisfied the requirement for equality. Houston's strategy was to force the state to admit inequality and expose the absurdity of, quote, out-of-state equality. He aimed to use Maryland's own constitution against segregation. This was Marshall's first major case. He was young, sharp, and relentless, learning courtroom strategy from Houston and beginning to build the blueprint for the later Brown v. Board of Education case. When the trial began, Judge Eugene O'Dunn presided. The NAACP presented evidence of exclusion, while the state defended its policy of segregation. The core legal question was simple. Can Maryland deny Murray admission when no equal black law school existed within the state? Houston argued that equality must be real and that out-of-state tuition did not equal opportunity. Furthermore, he asserted that segregation violated the Maryland state constitution. The state's argument maintained that segregation was legal and that paying for out-of-state tuition satisfied equality, meaning they had no obligation to integrate. Judge O'Dunn ruled that Maryland must provide equal education within the state. Since no black law school existed, Murray had to be admitted. The key language from the ruling emphasized that equality must be real, not theoretical. The immediate impact was Murray's admission to the University of Maryland Law School, marking the first major victory against segregated graduate education. Maryland offered no appeal and quietly complied with the ruling. Other states with segregated graduate education immediately took notice of this successful legal challenge. The Murray case represented the first crack in the Plessy v. Ferguson doctrine, as courts were forced to acknowledge the inequality of segregation when no equal facilities existed. This victory solidified Houston's blueprint: build case law step by step, use state constitutions to challenge local segregation, and systematically prepare for a federal confrontation. For Thurgood Marshall, the Murray case became his foundation. It was followed by Sweatt v. Painter as his breakthrough, and ultimately Brown v. Board of Education as his masterpiece. Murray v. Pearson was the first successful NAACP challenge to graduate school segregation. It established the, quote, no alternative must admit doctrine and proved that courts could be persuaded. The case is crucial because it shows the beginning of the legal revolution, demonstrates the power of the incremental strategy, and provides the first doctrinal foothold against separate but equal. The Murray case, where there was no equal school, set the precedent for Sweatt, where the schools were unequal. Both cases effectively exposed structural inequality. Although often forgotten, Murray's place in history is foundational. It was the quiet beginning of the legal effort that eventually led to the end of segregation. As one historian put it, before the nation was ready, Murray lit the first flame. The case remains a powerful reminder of how determined legal strategy can force states to live up to the promise of equality under the law. Thank you for watching this video on the landmark legal challenge of Murray v. Pearson in 1936. If you are interested in learning more about this case, further resources are available.